Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is David from Daveden Web Dev, and on this channel, I like to talk about all things WordPress, especially about accessibility and about web design in general, so dynamic data and accessibility. And we'll be looking at something today, which is trying to design a website from a bit from scratch. It is kind of following from my last video where I tried to design a website and I didn't do it well. So it's just going to be a redo of my last live stream. So, okay, thanks Jonathan for confirming that you can hear me. And if you have any questions, please do leave them in the comment section and I'll try to go on with them. So I'll just wait for a few minutes and then we'll jump into the website that I'm going to be building and we'll see how I would build it from scratch. So yeah, for the most part of this video, I'll be mostly showing my screen, not my face. So I hope that's okay with you. And we'll go on from there. So yeah. So now I'll be switching over to my screen and we'll see what we'll be designing. So let me switch over. And basically the website we'll be looking at today is the Pixel Goat website again. We'll be attempting to do it a second time and see if I can do it better. I hope I can do it better. And I'll be asking for feedback. And I'll be asking for feedback from you guys. So please do let me know what you think. And like, maybe if I'm doing something wrong, let me know in the comment section to know that, okay, David, I think it's going to be this way better than the other way or something like that. So yeah, let me go ahead and show you the entire website. So we're not going to go through all the website. I'm just going to be doing maybe the first couple of sections. Then I'll be like brainstorming for what we can do to make it a bit more accessible. So let's go. So yeah, I'll come back to my page. Let me show you all the things that I already have in the page. So first, I've already gone ahead to set up some things so that it can be faster. Let me leave the website in the description. So if you want to go and check it out yourself. So that's the website we'll be working on. And let me also put the link to the live website I'm going to be using so you can check it out yourself as well. So the live build. Yeah, so those are the links. So let me go ahead and show you all the things that I have set up already. So the first thing I've done is I've already gone ahead to install bricks. So if you go under appearance, the theme is the bricks theme and is bricks version 1.10.3. I also installed the child theme as well. And then for the plugins, let me go over the plugins. So I've installed Accessibility Checker by Equalize Digital, Bricks Forge. I'm not going to be using most of them. Mainly, I'll be using the core framework in conjunction with Bricks, and I might use Jet Engine to create some meta fields if necessary. Then the others are just nice to have. I always install dynamic shortcodes on every website I build because I've learned the syntax and I like using the syntax more than other dynamic data syntax. But yeah, that's just a personal preference. So now let me go over to the media. And I've already loaded up most of the images. So we have the Pixel Goat logo. We have some of the icons and other things like that. So that just to speed up the whole process. Then I didn't install any fonts. I'm just going to be using the default font here. The other thing I did was the core framework. So I've loaded up my own version of the core framework. Oh yeah, before I continue, I can see a question. It says that, why am I using a child theme? So basically what you do is that you always install the parent theme, but then when you want to add some extra bit of information, like you want to like style the theme using PHP or some other code snippets for your theme, then it's always good to use a child theme. So that's where you store all of your data. It's almost like having code snippets plugin, but it's just good to have in case you need to override something from your theme. That's why I always install a child theme. But the both of them have to be active. So you have to have the parent theme before you install a child theme. So yeah, that's it. So let's continue. So I just installed some of the colors. I copied the colors directly from the Pixel Goat because there are two colors for the orange. If you go ahead and inspect the page, you'll notice at the bottom, let me try and expand this. So they just have all of their colors already there. So they have one called alert, then app font. So they're using a font called Sophia Pro, and so they have the success. So I just copied most of these colors and then I put them into my core framework. So these are the main colors, and then I put the others. So that's it. So now let's go ahead and open a page in Bricks. So under pages, I've created the home page, so edit it. Then I'll go ahead and edit with Bricks. So here we have the page. What I've done, usually in my build, so what you will notice that the color is already having the color for the background similar to them. And that's because the way I have set it up is that it picks up the surface color from my core framework. Let me show you the core framework again. So under core framework, so I've set up the background body color. So that's the color that you see on the body, which is the same thing they did as well. So that's something that speeds it up. So once I just set up the colors from core framework, it automatically puts my background color the way I want it, and some other colors like the primary color, which they are using as black in this case, and then this is their secondary color and their accent color. So I just put everything in core framework. Because of how I've set it up in Bricks, everything just gets ported into Bricks the same way. So let me go back, and now we'll start the page. So the first thing I'll do is just try to create the home, the logo and all of that. So that's in the header section. So I'll create a header template. So come back, go under Bricks, then templates. Then I'll create a new template. I'll call it maybe site header. Set that to be the header. I'll publish it. Then I'll edit with the Bricks. The next thing I want to do now is add in basically a container to wrap everything. And then within the container, I'll add an image for the logo, then the nav and the button. So that will just use something like maybe the nestable nav, because I want everything here to be in one list because they are all links. So it's better to just group them together. And that's where nav nestable is a good choice because it can allow you to customize everything. So the first thing I'll do is add a container. So I'll come over, say container. Then within the container, I'll go ahead and add an image and the nav nestable. Ideally, for now, these days, I don't actually use the nav and nav nestable. I actually create my own nav from scratch because I've noticed that there are so many issues with the nav and the nav nestable. Both of them have some issues. So for now, I've decided not to be using them. But for this example, I'll just use the nav nestable because the problem I'm having with the nav nestable is that first, the button itself is put in an li, which I don't think is correct because the close button and the open button should be outside of the list. But in this nav nestable, the button itself is put inside an li, then it is placed at the bottom instead of at the top. so many other things are there that I just don't like with the nav nestable. So usually I just build one from scratch. That's why I like bricks. You can build anything from scratch. So I normally build one from scratch, but for this example, I'll leave it this way. And I will show you some of the problems that I noticed with the nav nestable. So let's move on from there. Oh, okay. Oh yeah, Bob. We'll check the live stream later. Hopefully you can drop your comments in the replay. So yeah, so it's going on. Let me now go ahead and add in the image, which is the logo. And the logo was the pixel goat. And that's the first problem that a lot of people have as well, is that they don't actually add an alt text for their logo. If you're using a logo that is a PNG, then you should add an alt text that tells us the company itself and like what page is going to, because I'm using a link as the image, so the image is a link. So rather than putting a blank alt text or putting a random generated character, you should make sure that you are telling us where the link is going to. So the alt text should describe where the link is going to. So in this case, it's going to the homepage of the Pixel Goat. So it should ideally be Pixel Goat, if I can spell correctly, homepage or home. But a lot of people will either write something like logo or something, but once an image is the only thing there and it is acting as a link, then you have to make sure that the alt text of that image is informing the user what the link is going to do. So it should describe where the link is going to. So it's going to the homepage of Pixel Goat. So that's what we use as the alt text. So insert that. That's it for the image. Then now let me go to the container. I'll just call this maybe DD header or S header inner. Let me copy that in case I need it for something else. Okay. Then I'll give the image a link as well. So I'll just call that maybe DDS logo and the nav nestable. So that will be DDJS nav. Okay. So for the container, now I can come. Another thing is in the header section, you don't have to use any other kind of what's it called? Semantic kind of container. Don't put a section inside the header. Usually the header is already a sectioning element and it's already a landmark region. So you don't need to put any other thing like a section or article or whatever inside the header. Just put the header tag and that's it. Then you can add other kind of landmark regions like the search or the nav inside the header, but you don't need to be putting all these sectioning elements like the section or the article or something like that. Those are not necessary. So then I will now make this the main, give it space between, and then center them. Okay, so that's it for the container. I'll come to the image itself. That's going to be the logo. For that one, I'll just give it a link. So it should link to the other URL, and that should be internal page. Just call it the home page. Okay. Then what else? I can leave the rest there because it's going to be a linked image. You don't have to start putting it into a figure tag or anything. This is just going to be an image that is acting as a link. So just leave it the way it is. And I think that's it for the image. Now we can just style it. Maybe I'll just give it under the layout tab. I'll give it like maybe a width of 100%, but a max width of maybe 180 pixels. You can use pixels for the image, I think, because the image itself is not a text. It's usually for text, you start to give them rems and things like that. Oh yeah, I think I can see a question. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. You can use a section and convert it to a div. That's also one way to do it. In this case, since it's just one div, I decided to just use a container. But yeah, usually you use a section with a container inside and then change the section to a div. So that's true. Okay. Then what else? On the container, yeah, there's a lot of space. So let me just go to the style. I'll remove the spacing from the padding. So just give it like maybe usually there's the unit, but I'll just use 1 rem and save that. I might change this later because it still looks a little bit big. Let me see. Yeah, it looks very big. Maybe I'll reduce the width a bit. Let's go to the width of the image and just reduce it a little bit. Maybe I'll say 120 pixels. Yeah, I think that's better. Okay. So I'll go to the nav. For that one, I'll just give the link. So portfolio, how it works, benefits, pricing, FAQ. Because I like to have so much control, these links, if you look at them on the front end, let me save this and just preview on the front end and inspect it. You'd see that it automatically gets wrapped into an LI. And like I said about the buttons, if you see, okay, I think, yeah, I was right. So the button is also put in an LI, which is not what I will do ideally. And the close button should be the first focusable element usually. So it should be at the top, not at the bottom. So that's why I don't like the whole of the structure that they use in the nav nestable. All of these buttons should not be in the UL. They should be outside of the UL and just controlling the UL, because we are controlling the hiding and showing the UL, not the nav itself. So it should be outside of the UL, but then controlling the UL. Yeah, that's it. So let's go back. So rather than just using the automatic LI, I like to create my own block. So I'll just right click and then wrap in a block, then change that block to an LI. So I'll change the tag to an LI. So that will be the nav item. Let me delete the rest. So for this nav item, I'll give it maybe a class name. So the nav items, I'll give that maybe nav list. Then for the item itself, I'll give it nav item. So, and like I said, this button should not be there, but once you start trying to move the buttons, they start to create some kind of problem. So that's why I just decided not to be using the nav nestable for now. Maybe in the future I'll revisit it. But yeah, let me go ahead and duplicate this. The nav itself, I'll give it. Oh, why is it not? Okay, yeah, because I used a block instead of a div. I always forget about that because it gives it a width of 100%. That's why it starts to wrap. So the width, I'll just give it back auto and everything should come back. Yeah. So that's it. Save. Hello, Jimmy, the skating choreographer. Thanks for joining in. Yeah, let's keep going. Let's see. So let's go back to the page. It says portfolio, how it works, benefits, pricing. So come back. First one, portfolio. Then second one, how it works. The third one is benefits, pricing, FAQ. Okay, so benefits. Then I'll duplicate this, Control-Shift-D. Then our one is pricing. And the last one is FAQ. So duplicate again, FAQ. Okay, so those are the main elements. The last one is a button, so I would duplicate this. That's why I would have loved to use the nav nestable, because now I can duplicate this, delete the link, and make that into a button, so, or at least styled as a button. So that's it. And that one is for the book a call. Call that book a call. So we have all of them there. So that's it for the header. We'll do the rest of the styling later. Let me just change one thing. So come to the nav nestable, make the size to fill the entire space. Then I'll do the other trick. So let's see. For the first nav item, I'll just give it a margin left of auto. Then the last item, which is the button, okay, yeah, I'll give the same thing. So margin left of auto. And that will center the actual links in between and make the button at the end. So basically, I'm saying give enough space as possible to the left of the items. So once you do that, it will now make this centered again. So that's one trick some people use. If you refresh it now, you see the links are in the center, the button is at the end, and we get something close to what they have here. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, so we can continue. I can do the other styling later. But now watch, like I said, if you inspect it, you still get that ULLIA structure, which we need in the nav, because the way some screen reader users work is that they go by the list of items, because that number will be announced to a screen reader. When you go from the logo, it announces the logo, then we know that the logo is linked to the home page. Then when we get into the nav, it tells us that there are 6 items. Then that gives the indication, okay, do I want to listen to all 6 items or do I want to skip it? They can now easily skip the list and move to the next thing. So that's the benefit. Oh yeah, I think they did a very good job in the, let me pull it up. So yeah, they did a very good job in doing that logo. I think, in fact, the homepage in general is quite nice. I like this image as well of the goat. Yeah, let's continue. So the next thing we'll do now is I'll just start from the homepage. I can come back and style this later, like the button. I'm supposed to give it a bit of a rounded edge, but I'll style that later. Or we can even do it just now. All I'll do is just come to the settings, go to the theme styles, because it's going to be the primary button that has that style. I'll go under button, if I can find it. Yeah, button, then primary, or maybe I'll make all of them. Let's see how all their buttons look like. So we can see the buttons are all, I think all the buttons, both the outline buttons and the regular buttons, they're all having that rounded edge or the curved edge. So I think I'll just do that on the primary button or the default button. I'll just give that border. Maybe I'll give it a border radius of, let's see, what do I have? If this works. Oh no, it doesn't work here. So I have to type it manually. So I'll say maybe var radius of maybe S, I don't know, maybe an M. Why is it not working? Okay, let me, oh yeah, I'm on the primary rather than on the actual button. Let me just go to the standard border. Oh yeah, should work. Yeah, it's working now. So let me make it an S. Okay, yeah, that's it. So I'll save that. So now we have a slightly curved button. We have our links. They're all linking to some places. You would ideally want to have this button outside of the nav, but like I said, I don't know how to work it out. But I think Nicholas, is it Ace or Art? I can't pronounce his surname, sorry. But I think he has a very good mega menu that people can go ahead and purchase, which makes the menu better and more accessible. But yeah, let's continue. Now I'm on the home page. Let me just refresh it. Okay, it's there. So we have our header section now. we can now start styling the rest of the page. So let me go back to the page and see what do we have. So we have the hero section, and within the hero section, I think the text is like 2/3, while the image is 1/3. I don't think it's a halfway split because this is somewhere around the halfway split, so it's more than half. So I'll just use maybe a CSS grid and see how we go from there. So come here, I'll create a section. Section has a container inside. Some people, for hero section, they tend to make it a header because once you use something like header or footer within another like landmark region, so like within the main, and you put a header, it's not acting as a landmark anymore. It's just acting as a header for that region. So like for the main section area, if you put a header inside, then it becomes the header for the article or something like that. So some people use the header and then the footer within the main area, and it's all fine as long as it is not a direct child of the body. If it becomes a direct child of the body, then it becomes a second landmark region, and that's different. But once you're using it inside like an article or something like that, because you will notice a lot of the okay, let me see the comment. Oh yeah, okay, that makes sense. Yeah. So you said I can use only the outer toggle rather than both the inner and the outer. This actually makes sense. I think I will try doing that. Let me go ahead and head back into the nav nestable and delete this button. Then I'll go to the open button and then just give it a class name of maybe toggle button. And give it a z index. So where do we find z index? Okay. Save that. We'll see how it works when we go to the okay. Yeah, let me close this. Yeah, so let's continue. I'll save this. I'll come back to the page and then we'll start. So this is the hero section. Then it has a container inside. Okay, so within that one, I'll give it 2 blocks. So the first block will be our content wrapper, and the second one will be the media wrapper. I think that's a convention a lot of people use, media wrapper. Previously, I used to just call it image wrapper, but when I looked at people like Kevin Geary and I looked at, I think it was the USW something, they also like to use media wrapper. So I said, okay, maybe that's a better convention because it compasses the both images and videos and graphics. So I think that's a better naming convention. Okay, so for this one, let me go ahead and see. They just have a header, and so they have, this will be like maybe the H1, and then this text will be like a paragraph text. Then we have 2 buttons which will be wrapped. Yeah, even I tend to not use it. That, like I said, I created one previously. I don't know if I have it somewhere here, but I used it in dynamic shortcodes. I just created it as a PowerShot code. So whenever I want to use a kind of menu, I use that menu. But I was just trying out this mega menu now. But a lot of people don't even use the mega menu. They use things like the one from Nicholas or the one from what's his name? Udoro Cracker. Although that one I have some issues with it, but that's just for my own personal comment. I'm not going to talk about it that much. But yeah. So let's go ahead and see what we can do. So I'll come here, add a header. Or what I can do is, because this is also going to be, so 2 different text colors, rather than using the actual H1 tag, I can just use a div and then convert it into a H1. So custom H1. Then I can add some spans in there. So let me just say this is the header or heading. Then I'll add some spans. So should I use headings or basic text? Let me just use basic text. 2 of them, convert them to spans. Because you can't actually use a div here. A div is not accepted as a, what's it called? A HTML tag that is within a heading. So like H1 to H6, they can only accept things like span, button, and some other things like that. They can't accept divs. Divs are not allowed, but they may work for some browsers, but they are not allowed, basically. So yeah, let's continue. So this will be, let me go ahead and drop the text. So the first one, on demand, unlimited, copy that text, paste it here. So say upper, just going to be naming them in a weird way now. Because like they say, naming is hard. So that's the first one. And the second one, design and development. Okay, come back. So we have everything there. So we can now do some CSS to make everything look correct. But for now, that's just it. I'm just going to be dropping all. Yeah, so you can use a span inside an H1, or is it A or yeah, you can use a span, but you can't use a div. A div is not, because a div is a block level element, and the H1 is also a block level element. So the block level element, the way they made it in the HTML5 structure is that you should not use the div inside of H1 to H6. So yeah, that's it. So let's continue. Now I'll have the paragraph text. So come back and put outside of this, within the container, plus put another basic text. This will be a paragraph. If I had advanced thema, it will have automatically put it as a p tag for me, but I don't have it on this site. So I'm going to be doing it manually. Then I'll copy all of these. No, this, I might as well just close. No, let me just put it somewhere here. Okay. Paste this. So I can just use probably BR. Looks weird. We'll see what happened. Maybe I should refresh the page. What's this? Oh. Oh, a block. Okay. Oh, I moved the. I don't know where I created this block from. Okay, we keep going. Why is it? Oh yeah, because it did a 2 BR tags. Why did you do that? Save this. Let me come back to Pixel Goat. Okay, now I have a block. Okay, yeah, for the buttons. So I'll say maybe button wrapper. Okay, so okay, let's see. We have media wrapper. Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I think it moved here. So, but this will be the button wrapper. And within that, I can now add 2 buttons, or actually they are links, but styled as buttons. So 2 of them. Then for the media, I will give that an image. So image. So I think we have our basic structure here. Let me just add all the content before we start styling them. So the content, we have C plans and then watch intro video. So C plans. The other one is watch intro video. So watch. Okay. And then the image. I'll put the image in. So that's the next question I'll be asking. Should this image have an alt text or not? So and if anybody has a very good answer, please do leave them in the comment section so that I know. Because a lot of people say, I remember when I was talking in the BRICS community, someone said, that most of these images we should just give them a blank alt text so that they get removed from screen reader, so screen reader does not read them, or a screen reader user does not need to bother reading this image. But in your own opinion, do you think a screen reader user should also partake in this image? Before you answer that, I will give a short story. I remember when I was in, like, I think secondary school, I used to, I had some two very good friends, which I should mention their names. One of them is Jonathan, and the other one is IK. Both of them saved my life in secondary school because, a lot of times people just assume that you can see everything. So they can easily get the information from something and then they determine whether or not the image should have like information or not. But you not telling me what the image has is a big problem, because in secondary school I don't see the board. I had very big problems because my eyes, I can't really focus very well because of I have short-sightedness, astigmatism, and a lazy eye, along with other issues. So most times when I go to class, my friends used to wonder how come I used to pass in class, when every time I just go to the class, I go to the back seat and I put my head on the desk. So they used to wonder why do I always put my head on the desk? They didn't realize that what I was doing was that because I can't see the board, there's no point, and all my lecturers like to write on the board. There's no point straining my eyes to see something I cannot see. So what I do is I shut my eyes and I try to listen to every word the lecturer says. So every description he tells us about what he's writing on the board, I try to memorize it. And then I go back home and try to replicate it when I go back. So that is what people don't really understand, is that sometimes you need to put all of this information, as much information as possible, because you may be able to determine whether this information is important or not. But a lot of people, they don't get that information and they lose a lot of information because you're not saying anything. So you should try as much as possible, when you have something like this, which looks like it has some information, you should try to give the information, because you might think it's not important, but somebody else would really benefit from that alt text, which is why in I think Twitter now, they make sure that you put alt text to all images, which exactly. So that's what I was saying. The image, I believe it should have an alt text. Should be up to me to determine whether or not I want to read that alt text or not, because that's why like I said, I love my friends. I will always ask them to describe everything on the board. So what happens is that I had the two of them, they will sit down with me in the back seat. Whenever the lecturer is not saying anything and he's just like talking or like just writing on the board, because sometimes it was very bad that we even went to some exams. I went to some exams and the lecturer literally wrote the entire exam on the board without saying anything. And I was just there staring at the board. I can't see the board. I can't do anything. But that's how my school life was. But thanks to my friends, what they would do is they will speak to the teacher. Then he allows them to like literally talk to me even in exam halls. So they will be telling me what's on the board, and then I try to translate it to my notes, or they will even write notes for me. Like I had one friend, I think her name was Grace. She used to write some of my notes for me, because people don't realize how hard it is for some people that live with disabilities, that life is not as easy as, because you have the benefit of some things, you don't see or you don't feel the pain that some other people are feeling, but it's like that. But if you're not having that, what's it called? That problem, just like if you're not having a mental health breakdown, you may not really appreciate what those people are going through. Like people who are going through depression or something like that, you don't really appreciate it because you're not going through it. It is when you or somebody close to you starts to go through that thing, then you start to appreciate it a bit more. But at least sometimes you can try to have empathy. So as much as possible, try to have some empathy. Try to just feel what people are feeling, which is why they came up with that 4 principles of accessibility, that they say you should just make sure that everything is perceivable, it is operable, it is understandable, and it is robust. What that means is just think about it in terms of the sense organs. So the eyes, the ears, the mouth, the hands or the legs or whatever limbs, and in terms of like maybe brain functionality, try to see, okay, if I have a button, like if you come over to their website and you see all these links, you might be well enough to know that as I hover over this, because the icon changed, then you know it's a link. But if I'm using a touch device or something, I may not know that these are links. But although the good thing is that for headers, people have already associated that the everything in the header is supposed to be a link, so we will naturally click it. But say you have somewhere like this now, my brain will naturally think that all of these are links, but they are not actually links, they're just text. So sometimes you should try to like follow the convention, follow how buttons look like, how texts look like, how images look like, things like that. Those things help people who have some kind of like disability to still try to survive, because they've learned a lot of things based on like reality. Like I'll also talk about how when I came to the UK, let me even change the screen if I can. Yeah, when I came to the UK in, I think some years ago, there was I went to the lounge or like the airport, and I think it was the one in, because I took a connecting flight, so I went to Morocco or somewhere. And when I got there, I could not, literally not read anything in one portion, and the things that had English, they were not really visible for me. They were far away, so I was just there standing. I couldn't find where the toilets were, anything. I was just like, what do I do? Like, because I can't speak the language, I can't. I just follow what every other person is doing. So that sometimes that's why people start to try to realize the patterns. So you can see the pattern of or like the shape of a toilet, then you know, okay, this is where the loo is, or you see the shape of maybe a bag, or you say, okay, maybe this is where the loading area is, or something like that. So that's why you should follow convention, because sometimes these conventions, they help people to know what is going on even without telling them what is going on. So let me see. I think I get it. Yeah. Yeah. Because I was even speaking to, let me switch. I switch back and see if I can get it. So yeah, I was even speaking to Anne and Mike Bolivar. She also was trying to explain to me how some people's pain, what they go through as well. Like for people who have things like some learning disabilities, or people who have things like, what else? So many other kind of things, eh, especially like learning disability. I have a friend who has a learning disability. So when you start using things like very big grammar in your text, some kind of fancy words, you think you're helping out, like you're trying to show that you know the best words in the world. That might be good for you, but it may not be good for people who are struggling with like basic English. So that's why they say you should also try to, that's why you call it understandable. That's the third word in the principles. So there's the perceivable. Try to make sure that everything can be perceived. So if there's a like an image, provide a text alternative. If there is something like sound or video, try to provide a text. In fact, anything you're trying to do, provide a text alternative to that thing. That's the best way to go forward. If you have like an image, provide all text. If you have like what else? If you have a video, try to provide like captions or transcripts, things like that, so that somebody can still convert that into something else and then use that for their life. So those are just, I'm just rambling. So let me come back to the work. So now that we have established that the image should have an alt text, what would you people describe this image as? Oh, hi George. Thanks for joining in. Mm. Oh yeah, before starting, okay. Yeah, I like what Jonathan said. Before starting a video, think about something really happy in your life, so you're nice and happy. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Once you start to think about the good things in life, it makes your whole day positive. So That's true. The and yeah, hi George. Uh, yeah, remembering the past is 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 fun to remember the past. Especially for my friends. Whenever I remember my friends and what they've gone through with me, I just cannot do anything but smile because they went through life with me. Through when people just expect you to be good, but they don't understand your what you're going through. It can be very hard because back in the school, my lecturers, they always, or my teachers, they always feel like everybody can see this thing on the board, or everybody can write. So we write exams literally because we are using a chalkboard in my first 4 years, or my first 3 years, we're using a chalkboard. So they literally write on a chalkboard that is like grayed out because we've not been cleaning the board properly. And they just write like full tests and full exams on the board sometimes, but most times they write the exams in papers. But yeah, sometimes they write it, and you just have to go through life like that and survive. But yeah, that's a story for another day. Yeah, let's continue with the the image. So, like I was saying, what will you people describe this image? What alt text would you think this image should be? Because I don't actually know how to describe this image. I had to use I think I used Claude or ChatGPT. I'm not sure which one I used. Let me see. It gave me a text which I'll just paste in the comments, and then you can tell me what you think about that text, or if it's too long or it's too short. So let's see. So let's see. Is it too long? Oh, okay, yeah. So that's what. Let's go. So it says a cartoon illustration of an anthropomorphic goat working at a computer. The goat is sitting in an office chair, wearing glasses, and using a desktop computer. The goat has curled horns and a beard. Okay, it didn't. It's not everything that was copied. Let me see where it stopped. Okay. Let me copy the rest. And okay. And is shown interacting with a computer screen using a stylus or a pen. The desk setup includes a monitor, a couple of pencils, and a computer tower underneath. The image is rendered in black and white, and then it says some other things. So it's quite long though, but what do you think? Oh yeah, let me see. Let's see the one by skating choreographer. He says, this actually sounds nice. A goat sitting at a computer holding a pen in the right hand here, thinking about the next design. Yeah, because sometimes you have to like come up with the words based on what you yourself are feeling, because all of this, like talk about art is what you feel. So you don't really need to describe everything in the image, but describe the image in such a way that it encompasses what you feel is happening in the image. So yeah, this is actually quite good. Is there any other one that has any other suggestion of what the image can be? So I think we'll try something similar to this. So let's go to the page, and then let me say something like that. So I'll just go with what skating choreographer wrote. So he says, can I find it? Yeah, let's see. Okay, a goat. Okay, a goat sitting at a computer, holding a pen in her right hand, thinking about their next design. Okay, we'll just go with this for now. At least that's better than what I would have come up with, because I don't know how to describe things a lot. Well, yeah, let's insert that. So that's the image, and this is the text. Let me go back and see the design. So the design says, okay, so on demand, unlimited. We have the image. We have our 2 buttons. So let's go ahead and see the buttons. So, okay, the 2 buttons. Now we'll start with this whole heading. So let me start giving them class names just to be safe. So I'll call this maybe hero, or hero. Then everything will just have names. It would have been nice to have like advanced thema or ACSS here, but let's continue. Hero inner. This will be the content wrapper. Then in there we have our heading. Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. I'll change the alt text. But okay, unlimited. Is it the unlimited design, or which one are you referring to? Yeah. Let me just. So I'm just guessing. Is it the design, or is it within the alt text? Ah, okay. Oh yeah, Jonathan. Yeah, so you're beginning to you love the DaVinci Resolve. Yeah, me too. I use DaVinci Resolve for almost everything. I was using Adobe Premiere Pro before, but then with all the prices and everything, I saw DaVinci Resolve. I just had to pay once. Then I get Affinity Suite as well, pay once, and that's it. So I decided to switch, and I've been enjoying it so far. Oh, okay, the goat. Oh yeah, I'll change it now. Yeah. Oh yeah. About the ACSS. Yeah, we'll talk about ACSS one day. Maybe in one of your live streams, I'll jump on, and then we'll discuss about ACSS and see what both of us feel about it. But because I keep switching between all of them, I guess that's I don't know, I'll call it the curse of being a content creator. I switch between everything. I switch between from Jet Engine to ACPT to Pods to Metabox, recently, which I just got, and to the other ones. So I guess I keep switching. Well, yeah, let me continue with, okay, yeah, the image. Let's go back to the image and see. Okay, it says next web design. Okay, I've edited it. Okay. Well, yeah, hi Lex. Don't worry. Yeah, you're not late. You can watch wherever you join in. Thanks for joining in. Let's continue and see where we are. So we've gotten our alt text. Then we'll see with the image now. Okay, yeah, I said I was going to go with the heading now. Have I finished all the classes? So this will be like probably description or something. So I like to use DESC for description. Then the button, I'll just stick that as BTN wrapper. The buttons themselves, maybe I'll just use the default classes from Bricks, and then change. I think this one's supposed to be an outline button, so change it to, what is it called? Is it light? No, I'll just use light for now. Then the media wrapper, give that media wrapper, and then the media itself, I'll make it media. So I think I've added all the class names. Now let's start designing them. So I'll come to the heading. Then I'll just make that display flex direction should be column. So we get back what we had. Then what else? Okay, I'll go to the inner. Maybe I'll call this one, I called this heading before, so the other one will be like heading styled or something. So we'll be heading styled, I don't know, or gradient. I don't know, styled. Just call that. So for this, I guess I'll just copy the CSS because I know you have to do something about text, background text clip. Background will be transparent, but I always forget how to do it. So I'll just copy what they did because they did a gradient background color. I know you do a background of gradient in the web kit or something like that. Let me see, what did they do? Oh, I made it too big. Let me reduce it a little. Okay, so we get, I think it's on this. Okay, yeah, so they call, so it's background, oh, they use WebKit radial. Let me just copy all of that. Then I'll come back to my design, just put root, R with a tab to get root. Then I'll paste. So yeah, get the design, save it. What else? Then I'll put the spacing between them soon. Let me go to the, what else am I missing? So for now, the text is a bit squashed because, like I said, it's supposed to be 60-40, I believe. So let me go back and to the content wrapper. I'll make that a grid. So display should be grid. The gap should be a grid gap, I think. Oh, I'm on the wrong thing again. Oh, this should not be on the content wrapper, but on the container itself. So close all of this, container. So that I should give that a display of grid. Then the gap, I'll say var dd grid gap. Okay, then, did you write? No. Okay. Oh, why is it doing that? Okay. Then this will be var dd grid. No, I have to do it manually. So min max maybe 0, like I said, 2 by 3, so 2fr min max 0, 3fr. Or is it the other way around? 3fr by 2fr. So that will be there. Then I think on mobile, I'll just make that a one grid. Okay. Come back. So it's taking shape a little bit. Next, I'll come to the content wrapper now and give it a style. I have one class name I copied from Kevin Powell. He just said, you just use something like flow, I think. I think that's what he called it. Is that what I call it? I think, well, we'll see. Don't know why it didn't work. I must have done something wrong, but yeah, we'll continue. Oh yeah, that's because I didn't actually put the class. If I come to WP code box, I didn't add that. I should have added it to my core framework, but I didn't. So let me just do this and then come over, install it, delete all of this. I'll delete that. Don't need all of this. This was when I was testing some things. Okay, save. Then now it should work. Okay, so refresh. Yeah, it's working now. So basically, I'm just giving a margin top of auto of 1 rem, I think, to each of the on child item, each of the items that is not the first item. That's all I'm doing. Okay, so come to the button wrapper. I'll give that flex direction to be row. Then I'll give it a gap as well. Let's see, the column gap. No, yeah, column gap should be maybe content gap or card gap. Yeah. Okay. Then probably I'll give it more spacing at the top. So the layout, I'll add a bit more padding than what it has currently. So maybe add padding. Say maybe space. Where's the spacing? Okay. Space S. Or maybe space M. Make it bigger. Okay. Let me see what it looks like. With this is the main page. Okay. Go to the page. Okay, I think it's getting there slowly. Now I just need to make them centered. Come over and then class, make it, it's already a column, so the main axis will be centered. Yeah, save. Then I think that's it. Okay, I think we've gotten the hero section at least to a good point. You just need to add this button. I'll do that later. Then the next thing is this grid here. So for this grid, I think all we just do, because the name is in the image, let's see what I'll do. Let me come. I don't know what will you guys do. Let's all discuss. Let me see. Add a section. Within that, I'll drop in all of the images. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's a heading first, or like we've done work for the following brands. And then these are lists of items. So this will be like a heading and then a list, I suppose, or we'll see. Let me I'll just put a heading for now. We can change it later. And then I'll put a block, which will be my list of images. So this will be the logo grid. Okay. Then I put all of the images. So image, let me just put one, then I give them class names. So say maybe the logo grid, I'll call it logo grid. And then, so this will be logo grid. Then this will be the image. I hope I'm doing the right thing. Oh no, it should be inside of another block, but that will be, because it will be the UL li. So wrap it in another block. That will be the logo item, or so that one. Yeah. Okay. And then we have an image. Okay. Yeah, that's it. Now I'll go ahead and duplicate all of these images. So make sure the logo grid itself is a UL, because it's easier if you just announce it as a list, then they just know it's a list. So I'll make it a UL. Then make the item itself an li. Then the image. Okay. The first image was the image of Amazon. And it was the grayscale image. So it's Amazon. Okay, yeah, that's it. So in this case, because the images are not linked to anywhere, but it's a list of images. So and the name of the company is in the image. So most times when the name is in the image, you should actually write that name in the alt text. You can add some other extra description after that name, but because the name is in the image, you should put the text as that name as well. So I'll just call it Amazon because that's easier. At least the name, the visible text should be somewhere inside of the alt text. So that's Amazon. Then let me go ahead and duplicate this. Let's see. So we have 5 of them. OL. Let me see. What is the question? OL container, if I remember right, first, then block li. Yeah, there are 3 ways you can create a list. We have the UL, which just means unordered list. That means if I change the order of all of these images, will it ruin the meaning of the list? If the answer is no, then you should put it in an unordered list. But if it's like a step-by-step process, so maybe say step 1, add rice or something. Step 2, the steps have to follow in order. So from step 1 to step 2 to step 3, then you use an ordered list. That's the difference between the ordered and the unordered list. There's another one called I can't remember the name, but it's DL. That one is descriptive list. I think that's what's the name. Yeah. But typically we use either the ordered list or the unordered list. The unordered list just means the order by which all of these items are arranged is not important. So I can go ahead and put this share grid as the first one or the Amazon as the middle one. It does not change the meaning of the entire list. So that's why you use an unordered list. So yeah, hope that answers the question. George, do you have a question? Yeah, that's it. Ordered lists are numbered as well. Yeah, so we have number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5. While the unordered lists are like bullets. Yeah, exactly. So that's correct. So the unordered lists are bullets. Yeah. So yeah, let's continue. We come, I think, to the image. Yeah. So I've put 5 images. Now let me go over to the container first. I have one class name. For this case, there's no need to start adding extra class names. I already have one utility class just called column. So it just makes everything a column. Then I can style the other things in there. So rather than having to create too many class names, if it's just for one property, I might as well use the utility class. So that's why I just use the utility class for that one. Then copy this. We've done work for top brands. Okay. For this, currently I'll just leave it as an H2, but I'm not even sure. Yeah, because it has some content underneath it, so it can be a heading. And those are a list of items. So yeah, we can make this a heading. Otherwise, you can just make it a paragraph text. If it doesn't really need to be a heading, you can make all of these to be under the hero section, and then this will be the heading, and every other thing will be paragraph text. But I think in this case, this can be a heading because it is a different section. Yeah. So all I just do is now style this heading to be something else. I'll say DD font size, maybe the medium. Okay. So what happens here is, this is the UL, then the items are the LIs. So that's easy. Then each of the images are just regular images. So now I've given them class names already, so it's easy for me to style them. So I'll come to the grid and I'll just make it let me see, which one will be better, CSS grid or flex? I'll use a grid in this case. And then do a grid 5. So display grid. I'll put a gap of maybe grid gap. And I'll say var. No, I wrote bar instead of var. Oh, why have I been writing B instead of V? No idea. Var dd grid 5. Okay. Oh, I always forget that this thing keeps. If you don't like exit it immediately and you hover over another one, everything just changes. So, but yeah. So we've gotten our grid. Let me come back to the container. I think I also have another one that aligns the items. So align items should be center. That just saves me having to create another class name. Okay, so now for the images, so the first one was Amazon. The second one is Fanatics. So I'll just call it Fanatics. Same thing, I'll just give, because it's just a text in image, so I'll just call that the same alt text. Then the next one is Samsung. So Samsung, same thing, give it the name Samsung. Yeah, then what else? Then Groupon and then Share Grid. So Groupon. And the last one is Share Grid. Okay, so we've gotten all of these. Maybe I'll give a bigger spacing between them. See the grid. Maybe I'll call it, yeah, grid gap should be okay. Yeah. Okay. Then I need to align all of these items to the center. So let me first do that on the actual grid. Make everything centered. Align items. Justify content. And that's it. Save. Let's see it on the front end. Refresh. Yeah, we get something similar. I might add some padding to the images to make them look smaller. So let's come back to the images themselves and add a little bit of padding all around. So maybe space 2xs or something. Let's see. Or an xs. Yeah, I think that should do it. Okay, so I think we've gotten somewhere. The last thing I'll just do is the cards, and then I'll also ask for your opinions again for these cards. We'll see how we can design these cards. Let me see if I can. Okay, so I'll put another section and designs that increase signups. This will be the heading. This will be the paragraph text. This will be, okay, I guess the image actually has some message there. Let me see. Yeah, it's an image, right? Okay. So we'll make the image. So this will be one section for everything. Then within that section, we'll have the one for the header and then the one for the cards. So those will be two blocks within the section. So that's for the next section. Just create a section. Within that section, put a container. Then within the container, I'll put two blocks. So this will be the header block. And the other one will be the cards grid or something. Yeah. Okay. Within the header block, I think that will be the last section we'll build today. So let me add heading, paragraph text. So that will be another. So I'll just make this another div or a block within the header. So that can just wrap all the text together. So I'll put another block. This will be for the content wrapper within the header. And then we have, let me duplicate this. The next one will be the image wrapper within the header. Or the media wrapper. Okay. For the content wrapper, we just have two things. We have the heading and the basic text. Okay. The media wrapper, we just have an image. Okay. So for the heading, we have designs that, okay, I think he put them into two sections. Maybe I'll do that, or we just, I don't know. Let's see. Probably we'll put a div as well. Yeah, I'll put a div as a heading and then put span tags because I think there are two, or I'll just put the BR tag and save myself the trouble. Okay. Then put a BR tag. Okay. Then for the text, copy that and put that in the text. What else? When we have the image, I didn't save that, so let me save it. Inspect. Okay, I'll just save it. Okay, save. Then it's saved. Now I can come back and add that image. Then let me go ahead and drop the image. If I can find where I dropped it. It should be under downloads. Downloads. Nice. Okay. Yeah, I got it. Okay. Paste it. So for this image, I think we'll just give because it actually has some information in the image, so we'll just write what is there. So it says it says 12 design patterns. I think I'll say I'm very bad with naming. So what name will you give here about this graphic? I think it'll be something that has to do with 12 design patterns, and then with a check mark. Let me just say, or I'll go to my trusty what's it called? Claude, and see what Claude tells me. I'm not sure, Jonathan. What do you mean by I should use car names? I'm talking about the alt text for that image. Is this what should the alt text for the image be? Okay, so this is what Claude says I should use. What do you all think? Let me see if I can pull it up. It says a circular logo with 12 design patterns around the edge and a blue check mark in the center. So, oh, hi, Oscar. I didn't see you there. Thanks for joining in. Okay, yeah, that also makes sense. Yeah. Circular logo saying 12 design patterns. Okay, so I'll use that. So let's go with that. Circular logo saying 12 design patterns. Okay. Yeah. So that is the alt text for the image. Oh, hey Max. I didn't see you there as well. Thanks for joining in. Okay. Yeah, let's see what next do we do. Okay, we have to add let me go back to let's go away from all of these, the header, and now let me make sure I pull it up properly. Okay. Then I have to just make it to be in line, because let me close this. What we're having here is the image on the right and then the text on the left. So we do that. Come to the header. I'll give it a class name of maybe, what should I call it? Card header or something, or card header alpha. Then Then for that, make it to be div. Okay, you can use a heading or a div, depending on, you can use a header tag or a div tag because it's the header for that section. Some people might use it. Usually it's in an article, I think. Yeah, that people tend to use header, then the body and the footer. But yeah, just use a div. It's easier. Or an age group if you're using, that's another tag that some people use. An age group if there are two things that constitute one heading. So they just make everything to an age group. But I still need to go and learn about all of those tags a bit more. So I'm going to give it display flex direction to be column for the header. Okay, yeah. Okay, so for the container itself, I'll just make it a column. Okay, I think it's coming together. So now go back to the header, make them to be space between, and then the cross axis, they should be centered. Okay, that's the align items. Now I'll make the image a little bit smaller. So maybe call this, what was the name of this? Okay, header alpha. Then I'll call this image wrapper or media wrapper. Then within that, okay. So for the media, I'll just make it a bit smaller. So 100% width, but a max width of probably 20 rem, I don't know, or 10 rem. Okay, that should do something. Okay. Then let me just make the block to be width of auto. Oh no, what did I just do? Oh, the CSS variable keeps ruining what I'm writing. Okay. Then make the content to have a standard text width. It shouldn't be too big. So text width, because we want it to still be readable. So usually around 60 characters should be per line. If it goes past 60 characters, sometimes it gets harder to read. So you can create a kind of utility class or something that says the width should be 100% with a max width of 60 or 55 characters, depending on the fonts that you're using. So I'll just use this one. I think it's okay. Then use the same thing on here. So I forgot DDJ card, no, header alpha content wrapper. Oh, okay, I can answer that question. I'm using Chrome, the dev version of Chrome. That's what I'm using because I like that it basically removes all of these extensions. I don't need to be seeing so many extensions on my page. So that's why I just use the dev version of Chrome. Oh, did I? Okay, yeah. So that's, hi, my name. Thanks for joining in. So yeah, that's it. Then I think the content wrapper, I'll just give it, I think, have I added the name? Okay, no, I haven't. DDJ header alpha content wrapper. For that one, then I like to just use that the flow class name that I saw from Kevin Powell. Just makes it have some spacing, or I don't know if this is too big. I'll just leave it like that. Yeah, but that's for the heading. Save that. Then let me come back and see on the front page and see what it is. Okay, so we've gotten this section. The last section that we need now is for the actual cards. So these cards, and well, that's another problem here. I wonder how would you guys approach this? would you use like maybe a 2-column grid, right, or something? So one for the text and one for the image, or would the image itself be a background image, or how would you approach this? Let me see. But let's just start something and see how far we go. So media wrapper, that would not have the, oh no, okay, that's, I was about to do something wrong. Okay, so that would be the UL, I think. Then within that, so let me just make this HTML tag of a UL. Within that, I'll add a block and another block. So this will be the LI, so card item. And then with the block itself is the card where everything will be in. And within the card, we now have 2 blocks again, one for the, I hope I'm right, so one for the content wrapper and the other one for the media wrapper. Okay, so okay, let's see. So it says okay, should be, but I think, let me see. I think it's only the first one that has more than 50%. I think the others, they just made them 50%, because if you see this image, if you divide the line is 50%, I think it's just the first one they did something to make it go over 50%, but others are just 50% split. So yeah, I don't know. Let me first try it as an image. Then if I can't do it, then we'll switch it to a background image. Let's see. So we have our card. Then what else? Okay, so everything is there. Let me just give them class names so that we can start from there. So I'll just call this maybe post card grid, I hope. Yeah. My naming conventions are always weird, so I apologize. Grid postcard item. Then the card itself should be postcard. Let me make sure I put them as an LI. So LI, and the grid is a UL, okay. And then we have the card, we have the image. So the content wrapper, we now have an image again and a text. So, and then we have the other option. So I'll put another block. One will be for the top bit and the other one for the bottom bit. So put 2 blocks again within, let me just close this. I don't need to go to the heading again. So within the content wrapper, I'll put 2 blocks again. One will be for text and the other one will be for text wrapper. I don't know. Text wrap and button wrap or wrapper. Yeah, let's just do that for now. Then I just add some dummy content for now. Okay, we have an image there. So image and a basic text for the top. Then for the button, we just have to, okay, now in this case, oh, hi Atif, thanks for joining in. Yeah, I think it's going well, hopefully. Thank you for the congratulations. Also, congratulations for the code snippets. I see you guys are getting so many downloads, which is nice. So you guys are doing well. I think that is one of the main ones I was using for a while before I started switching to different things. I started testing out so many things at the same time. But that was my main go-to code snippets plugin back in when I started. In fact, I still go to it once in a while. So yeah, thanks for joining in. So we now have these. This is where I will say something contentious, but let's continue first. For this one, I think I made a mistake already. These are probably should be in a CPT. So we should have different, because these will be like tags, or I think these are categories. And then, so probably this will be CPT with some taxonomies. I think that's it. But since I already started this way, I don't know what to do. So I'll just continue. Either a CPT or we use something like the jet engines, what's it called? Their components feature. Either one should do the work. But I'll just try to do something. I'll just use the same number, like 2 of these for all of them, and we'll go from there. So we'll see. That's for the button. I'll just put 2 buttons inside, even though they are not buttons. Or maybe 2, I don't know what I'll call them. I'll just put 2 buttons without, there'll be span tags, but yeah, 2 buttons. Yeah, let's leave it at that. Then we have the image. So I'll put the media or image. It's still looking very weird now. So let me just put some content so that we can have something to look at. So for the image, the first image, do I have it? It is Groupon with color. Okay, yeah, I have it. And then the last image is the one for the 2 phones. I hope I downloaded this. Let's see. This one, yeah. Okay, so we get at least something to work with. Let me just give it all the class names. So start from the beginning. That's card. Okay, let me just copy that. This is the hard work you have to be doing if you don't have some of those other third-party plugins to help you. Why is it cancel? Okay, this will be the content wrapper. Then the media wrapper. Then the image will be media. Okay, what else? We have the text wrap. So text wrap. What else? Button wrap. Then we have buttons. Usually buttons tend to be like standalone items in the BEM naming, but I'll just use them as part of the class name. What did I do? Okay, so we have everything. Yeah. So now we can start styling all of these things. So come to the card. I think the card itself, okay, I'll just make it a 2-column grid again because we have the content wrapper and the image wrapper. Let's see if it works. So I'll put it as a grid, a 2-column grid, and then I'll just give it a small gap. Let me make sure the mouse is not part of it. If not, it will start choosing the wrong thing. Let me just use the grid gap. Then this will be a 2-column grid. Okay. That's for the card itself. Then what else? Then I have to make the card items. So duplicate them 4 times. And I'll now make that another 2-column grid because it's just 2 of them. So that'll be on the card grid, the same thing. I'll put grid. And it should be in a query loop ideally, but I don't have that for now. Then put var. Okay. Make this one grid 1. Okay, so that's it. Now we can come back and continue the styling. See the image itself, I'll make it full width and full height. So width 100% of its grid container, the height 100% of its grid container. Come back to content. Then I'll make it have an not aspect ratio, object fit of cover or contain, I guess. No, cover. Now this is where I start to get. Then, okay, it should be 0, 100%. Was it 100% 0? Okay, 100% 0. Okay, I guess it's not working out as I thought it would, but we'll see. So I guess Oscar was right. I should have used it as a background image, not a regular image. But yeah, we'll continue. We'll survive. Okay. So for the button wrapper, make that a display of flex direction column. Then give it a gap. There was one CSS that Kevin Powell uses that makes it automatically switch to normally we use flex and then flex wrap, but he has one CSS that he does that makes the images still look even when it wraps. But yeah, let me just make that wrap to wrap and then give it a column gap of the same thing as the card gap. Then put a padding around everything. Put maybe a padding of, where is that? Yeah, the spacing. I've just been trying out different naming conventions. So sometimes my naming conventions are weird. Then what else? It's not looking nice for now, but we'll see. Put that flow again. Whenever there's content, I just like to put flow. Oh, I have to do that on every. Oh, this is one problem of not using the loop grid. Now, I could actually just put the CSS into the actual class name, but let me just do that. Yeah, yeah. Okay, and what else? This is what happens when you try to. Well, we keep trying things, and sometimes it works for us, sometimes it doesn't work. And I've done something again. What did I do? I've moved one. Okay, this one thing. Sometimes when I'm clicking, I'm just dragging things to the wrong place. Then I move things out of their containers. But yeah, so for now, we'll have to manage it this way. Then, okay, copy the text if I can. All of this. And that's one of the problems, which is not really a problem, but one of the problems of having the whole card as a clickable element, you end up not being able to click without it opening the link. You can't just copy the text. So let's see. We just keep trying it out. Copy this to keep opening the link. Did I paste in the wrong thing? Okay, and then the last one. So we're getting there slowly. Then I'll put all of the images, and I may not finish styling it, but I'll just mention one thing that may get some people not to agree with me or not. I don't know. We'll see. The second one, I asked, okay, yeah, let's continue. First, share grid and then Samsung. So the third one is share grid. And the last one is Samsung. Okay. Refresh. Okay. So, okay, yeah. There's also one problem that is here that I forgot, which is that ULLI problem that it adds some space. So on the card, I'll just use a utility class to remove the space for the ULLI. So now it now makes it flush to the end. Okay. Then for each of the cards, I'll give them a bit of padding. Maybe a space, small space. Am I on the right thing? Yeah, it should be. Why is it not applying to everything? Oh, okay. Because I'm doing only at the top. Okay, now that's it. Yeah. Then I will add a background color of white and a border radius. So background color on the card should be, I think, the body color. No, not body. Should be, yeah, should be or just a white. Let me just use white. Make life easy for myself. Okay. And a border radius of maybe S. Okay. Then I think a border itself, the border should have a color. So solid, maybe 1 pixel. And the color should be just border color. Let's see how it looks. Just the button and the text should be smaller and some other things should be changed. But yeah, we're getting there. I may not finish it, like I said, but I'll reduce the space between them. Maybe that will help. The images, the second image is the image of a phone, which is this one. The third image is the image of this. But yeah, definitely I should have used a background image. I think it's this one. Okay, and then the last image is that one. This one, yeah. Okay, so before we go, the final thing I was trying to. Oh, okay, bye. My name. Thanks for joining in. I really appreciate you coming. So, thank you. So the final thing that we're going to talk about now is this image. In this case, each of these cards, generally they should have an H1 or something, or like a heading, but there is no heading because the image is acting as a heading. So one idea I came up with, I don't know how correct that is. So if somebody is an accessibility expert, she can tell me in the comments. I decided that, okay, it might be better because this will be the H2. This will now be an image that is wrapped inside of an H3. So an inline image wrapped in an H3. So that will still give the H3, and the alt text of the image becomes the accessible name of the H3. So when a screen reader user is trying to access the heading, he will be able to still access that image and as a heading as well. So that's what I came up with. I don't know if or how accurate it is. So what I did was, for the image itself, let me see if I can find it. Okay, the card, that'll be the image here, or image header. That's what I'll call it. I'll now wrap that in a block. That block, I'll give it an HTML tag of custom, and that will be H3. Then the image itself, I'll make sure the image has the alt text, which is the visible text. So that will be group on in this case. then I'll do that for the other ones. That's what I thought about. So I don't know if you have any different opinion. Please let me know in the comments. But that was what I thought would be a good idea. So fanatics, because the card should have a heading ideally, because there is other information inside the card, like this text, there are buttons and other things. So it should be wrapped with a heading to explain what the entire card is for. But then there is not actually any heading. So there is an image that is acting as a heading. So that's why I wrapped the image in a header tag, and then I used the alt text of the image to become the accessible name of that card. So let me just wrap all of them and make them H3s. And make sure the image itself has Samsung, okay? Then this one, okay? The image is wrapped in a block, yeah. The image is wrapped in a block. And that's it. So basically that's the idea that I have. So let me know what you think. Okay, yeah. So he says he feels it's a good idea. So yeah, that's what I feel as well. I feel it's a good idea because we need a heading, and the image itself is not really doing much apart from it is acting as the heading. So you might as well make the image a heading and then put the alt text to become the accessible name of the image, and we get it like that. So yeah, that's basically it. I'll complete the rest of the styling later, hopefully. But if you have any questions, please do let me know in the comments. I'll try to answer them before we go off. So let me just try to check I hope I didn't miss any comment while I was talking. Okay. So yeah. If there are no questions, then we'll be ending the stream here, and you can write in the replay what you would like me to talk about in the next live stream. So I think I will try to do a live stream every week just to talk generally about accessibility and what things I've thought about. And then you give me your own suggestions. So we'll just have a general discussion and we'll see what it is. So, all right. Thank you very much. And we'll see you in the next one. So bye, I think. Let's make sure that we end the live stream. And let me try to find where exactly this. That's one problem with. Let me go away so I can look at my screen.